Hello everyone, this is Chandan, and in this video series I'm going to talk about all the myth and propaganda that is revolving around electric vehicles. Is there any truth in those propaganda? And if there is, what is the reality? What is the present condition? And where are we headed in future? So this is what we'll be addressing in this series. One argument that is thrown at every EV user is like, how long do you waste at a charging station? Which is kind of true, especially in India, because our charging infra is kind of really slow, and the government subsidies actually went towards, even the low powered chargers. And this was a very short sighted mistake from the government of India, that they should have set some thresholds, asking them to create 200 kilowatt plus chargers. Instead, 40 kilowatt, 60 kilowatt, everything got subsidies, and we have these tiny chargers that charge at 1/4 of what the car is actually capable of. So it is not a manufacturer problem, it is an infra problem. Yes, this does exist in India. Abroad, things are very different. Companies have moved towards really powerful chargers. China has reached almost a megawatt charger. Tesla has a 500 kilowatt charger. Most companies are at 350. Premium companies are at 350. Most workers at least have 200 plus kilowatts of charging capacity. So for a battery of 80 to 100 kilowatt hours, 200 250 kilowatt hour is really good. You are not spending that much time at a charging station even when you're traveling. And this is one issue that we are facing in India, that the high speed chargers are very less in numbers. Some showrooms have it, but it's a very slow process that is going on. Government needs to step up the game if they want to do this, and force the charging providers to install only, let's say, 200 kilowatt plus chargers. Nothing below that should be considered as a charging station, because or else these workers capable of carrying 175 kilowatts of power will basically be using only 40 to 60. What is the point of having something like that? Where are we headed from here? So countries like China, they have moved on. Their charging infra is at a stage where their next generation workers will have 100 kilometers of range in 30 seconds. That is faster than fueling your car at a petrol station. And you will have a minute of 200 kilometers range and a complete charge of the battery in sub 4 minutes. In under 4 minutes, your car is completely charged with around 1000 to 1500 kilometers of range. That is what is being developed right now. And they'll be implementing it in different parts of their country. So will most of these brands as they move to Europe, as they move to US. Most of the companies that are existing in Europe and US will also be increasing their charging speed, because they have to compete with the Chinese brands, and evidently they'll have to figure out how to do it. And the charge providers will eventually increase their capabilities to provide more energy into the workers. So that is a future for the world. Unfortunately for India, it all depends on government. Where does the government want to go from here will define how much of electrification happens on our transport system. They need to implement really high speed charging. They need to subsidize only really high speed charging. This is something that the government needs to step up and do it. Is charging an issue? Yeah, charging points are an issue. Even if we have really capable workers, unless the chargers are updated, chargers are up to the speed, there is not much you can do about it.